Asiedu-Dartey.
And I'm Ayisha, Yakubu. Let's bring you the headlines for this evening.
News360 Headlines is brought to you by
Flamingo Paint,
Pepsodent Charcoal and Pepsodent Herbal,
EcoBank.
National Communications Authority gives defaulting radio stations 30-day ultimatum to regularize their operations or face legal sanctions after clemency by President John Dramani Mahama.
Private health facilities across the country witnessed a sharp increase in patients as strike action by nurses and midwives lead to a partial shutdown of public hospitals.
Also coming up, investigative journalist Manasseh Azuri says he feels vindicated after government's decision not to renew waste management contract with Zoom Lion Ghana Limited.
And later in business, agriculturists urge government to ring-fence agri sector to sustain the surge in the growth recorded in the first quarter of the year.
In international news, over 200 bodies have been recovered from the site of the crash of a London-bound Air India flight. We're live on TV3 Ghana, on Facebook, all across the world on 3news.com. Stay with us for more details.
We are delving into it straight away, and government has announced a 30-day window for defaulting radio stations to regularize their operations or face sanctions following a sweeping regulatory breach in the FM broadcasting sector. The 30-day ultimatum follows President John Mahama's directive to the Minister for Communication, Digital Technology and Innovation to work with the National Communications Authority, the NCA, to immediately restore the broadcast of 64 radio stations that were hitherto shut down due to regulatory breaches.
Making a statement on the floor of Parliament, Communications Minister Sam George noted an audit on frequency authorizations revealed several cases of non-compliance with the regulations and conditions of broadcasting authorizations.
The NCA's audit showed several cases of non-compliance with the regulation and conditions of broadcasting authorization. The preliminary audit revealed over 600 active radio stations with frequencies, many of which were inactive, expired, or improperly renewed.
He added the president had intervened, providing some clemency to the affected stations.
A few minutes ago, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, the president, directed that the Ministry of Communications, Digital Technology and Innovation work with the regulator, the NCA, to allow all the affected radio stations some additional time to correct the identified breaches within a defined time frame. Those who fail to do so shall have their authorizations formally revoked under the law. The ministry and the NCA have granted a further 30-day grace period to all defaulting entities.
But the move has drawn mixed reactions. Minority Leader Alexander Fionmakin said the sanctions were unconstitutional and that the clemency came only after public pressure.
I would want the NCA and the ministry to be strongly guided by Article 296 of the 1992 Constitution. A regulation cannot overreach and override an express constitutional provision. In the list, the regulation is to guide, but not to impede and stampede the process. What happened today, where Asasi Radio was shut down, Wuntumi FM was denied the opportunity to broadcast, Happy FM denied the opportunity to broadcast. Mr. Speaker, must not ever happen again. Mr. President, clemency is a belated thing. is because of the public backlash.
For his part, Majority Leader Mahama Yariga, while urging strict enforcement of media laws, encouraged stations to meet their regulatory obligations.
When you take a license and the license stipulates conditions, please endeavor to comply with the conditions of the license. It is as simple as that. Please pay your license fees, but please endeavor to comply with the conditions under which you have been licensed to operate. I'm surprised that you will say that he is being magnanimous because of public backlash. When did the suspensions take place? And when did that public backlash occur that I sitting here haven't heard?
Let's go to Zoom now. We've been joined by the Executive Director of the Media Foundation for West Africa, Suleiman Brahima, to pick his thoughts on this new development. Mr. Brahima, good evening. Thank you for joining us on News 360.
Good evening, and thank you for having me.
What would your immediate thoughts be on the fact that, according to the law, if these media houses flout it, then they need to be, the right sanctions should be taken against them? And on the back of that, the president also stepped in to give them some clemency. And this has become a political debate. But from the perspective of a media practitioner like yourself, what do you make of it?
Well, I should say that laws are made to be complied with. And when laws are made and abused and nothing is done, then we are better off without the laws. Media freedom does not mean that there mustn't be regulation. Otherwise, tomorrow I can just get up and grab any frequency at all that is being used by another network and start broadcasting on it, and the results will be chaos. I think we've seen this issue of a shutdown before in the past. We have issues with it because it was done in a very discriminatory way, and we made that clear that our problem is not the enforcement of the law, but the fact that it is being done in a very partisan way, where radio stations that are known to be affiliated with the opposition then, the NDC, were shut down, and stations that are known or were known to be affiliated with the MPP, governing MPP then, with the same infractions, were left to run. I think that on this occasion, when the current minister and the NCA took the decision to shut down some 6 networks about a few months ago, we had cause to issue a statement and to warn that we want to believe that it is not the same old path that the previous regime had taken in terms of a partisan application of the law that we are witnessing. At that time, we had engagement with the ministry, and we were made, we were actually convinced that it was a very transparent process that was meant to ensure compliance with the law. And I believe that this is exactly what has happened. I don't think that we should have a media ecosystem where we say because of media freedom, there is no enforcement and compliance with the law. And that is why, for me, it is also great that the president says, look, I've stepped in, let's give these stations some period of time to ensure that they regularize their authorization conditions. And I hear that the minister has granted a 30-day period. And I believe that that should be enough for all those who have regulatory breaches to remedy the situation.
Would you advise that we stay away from politicizing these kinds of issues? Because like you indicated, there are laws governing almost every aspect of our lives as a people, and the media is not, above the law. So if you want to play in the media circle, clearly there are laws you need to follow. Would you advise that we stop bringing politics into this so that irrespective of which government is in power, if a media outlet goes contrary to what is expected and sanctions are applied, would not, paint it with a political brush?
I think that is the problem of our country, where we no longer see laws as laws, but we see them as political instruments. And so when people breach the law, and we are under NDC now, the MPP people will be sounding as if, complying with the law is not what we should be doing, and that the laws were made for some people rather than for all Ghanaians. I am pretty surprised about the position that the minority leader and other MPs that I've heard speak on this matter have taken. Because not too long ago, we had the MPP government do the same thing, but even in a very bad way, where it was clearly partisan. You know, you had stations. I mean, because you are on a different network. I don't want to mention names, but it was clear that some stations that were in breach of the law at that time were left to operate because they were owned by MPP people, and others were sanctioned. There were stations that went off air for more than a year. Some even went to court. You know, some went to NCA, presented checks. They were never accepted, and so on. So today, if the law is being enforced, I think what is important is for us to verify. Are we sure that this is not political witch hunting? Are we sure that all stations that are in breach are being sanctioned in the same way? If that is the case, I don't think that we should have a problem. But when it happened under the MPP, I never heard Afenyo Makin complain about it. I never heard the other people complain about it. What is different now? I hear Afenyo Makin talking about why should Wuntumi FM be taken off air? Why should Asase be taken off air? Why should Happy FM be taken off air? These are three stations that are obviously known to be owned by persons affiliated with the MPP. Is it that he's only concerned about stations that are affiliated with the MPP? Is he saying that if a station is affiliated with the MPP or if any station goes against the law, they should just be allowed to operate because of politics? I don't think so. Then what is the use of Parliament? If Parliament exists to make laws, and we say that people can abuse the law because they are partisan or because of politics, then we may as well want to shut down Parliament because Parliament will be of no use. Right. What is the essence of passing laws when those laws will not be enforced?
Right. Mr. Brima, very good question you end your submission on. Thank you so much for speaking to us. Suleiman Brima is the Executive Director for the Media Foundation for West Africa.
Moving on, the Health Committee of Parliament says it has had fruitful discussions with leadership of the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association following their strike, which has brought healthcare services to a standstill across the country. The striking nurses are expected to engage their National Council for a decision on the industrial action. Also in Parliament, on Thursday, the Speaker inaugurated a committee to spearhead the National Integrity Awards.
The meeting between the Committee on Health and the leadership of the striking nurses and midwives was held behind closed doors for over 4 hours. It was one meant to discuss possible frameworks or modalities to address the concerns raised by the group which caused their strike. Addressing the media after the deliberations, chairperson of the committee, Dr. Mark Kate Nawani, touted their engagement as successful.
The discussions were fruitful, and we've asked, or the nurses have requested that they have to go back to their council. By their regulations, they have to go back to their council, and then we'll come back, or they'll come back, or we'll hear something from them. I think that is fair.
While an official communication is expected from the GRNMA, the striking nurses and midwives say they remain committed to due process and internal consultation.
Ministry of Health, the Ministry of Finance, and Fair Wages, they were all in to assist us. We've tried to understand each other. We have tried as much as possible to synchronize our activities.
In a separate development, the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagbane, inaugurated a committee to oversee the novel National Integrity Award scheme.
The scheme is also a solemn reminder that corruption, impunity, and unethical behavior must no longer be tolerated or normalized in any form in this country.
A retired judge of the Supreme Court, Justice William Atuguba, as well as representatives of the Chief Imam, the Christian Council, and some anti-corruption agencies form part of the committee.
We all know the abyss into which this country has sunk, and I believe God is watching us. Having done this, giving us a completely new slate to write a new chapter of national life on. that will not mishandle it. I hope we will discharge our functions in such a way that we'll have to hold the march forward steadier and steadier.
The National Integrity Awards will feature the Voucher Awards, which would recognize individuals whose actions are deemed as shameful to the society. Christian Ali, TV3 News, Parliament House.
Private hospitals in Kumasi are currently choked as pressure mounts following a strike by the nurses. Referral cases have also been affected by the impasse. William Evansinkum has come through with the following report.
Normally a busy place, now a deserted one. The current state of the Sontreso Government Hospital. Striking nurses have literally crippled the facility. The mother and baby unit is one of the adversely affected units.
Not many hospitals are taking care of newborn babies. And the doctors, for as much as we are able to do the work that nurses do, but we are not, our number is not as much as the nurses' number. So it's very difficult for us to continue taking care of very sick babies on admission in the absence of our nurses.
And ordinarily, you're supposed to have a nurse working on this particular baby, but it is the doctor who has to abandon the consulting room and all other duties just to be here and ensure that she delivers. And I understand she's been doing this for the past close to 2 weeks now. The story is different at this private hospital. Surgeries have increased significantly.
Over the last, I would say, about 4 days, we've done over 20 deliveries, and over half of these were referrals that required emergency cesarean sections.
The labor ward is also seeing astronomical admissions.
And they come in continuously throughout the whole night, because when they go to Confanach, they are sent back. They are sent back here.
Emergency cases are coming back.
We have to manage, we have to do the best that we can. Sometimes we refer the patients and the patient comes back to you. So we do the best that to the best of our ability and to the best of our knowledge and capability.
We're still staying on health because private hospitals across the Bono East region are experiencing a significant surge in outpatient department numbers as the ongoing nationwide strike by the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association continues to cripple public healthcare services. With public facilities operating at a minimal capacity or entirely shut down due to the withdrawal of nursing and midwifery staff, patients are increasingly turning to private institutions for essential medical care, leading to overcrowded waiting areas and stretched resources.
In the Bono East region, the impact on public health facilities have been severe. This dire situation has created an unprecedented influx of patients into private hospitals and clinics. These private hospitals, though not directly affected by the strike, are now bearing the brunt of the public health crisis. Waiting times have soared, and staff are working extended hours to accommodate the increased demand.
Our average attendance, OPD attendance, has shot up to about 200 patients in a day, and that has increased so much as compared to prior to the onset of the strike. It has increased the workload, so you realize that there is no breathing space in the course of duty. This morning, we have a full bed capacity. All the beds are full. Some other patients are still in the queue to get admitted into the ward.
Though patients have expressed satisfaction with the services delivered by these private facilities, they are further urging government to negotiate with the striking nurses so they can resume their posts.
The nurses, the way they handle us, and then how they talk to us, are very nice. We like it and we appreciate that. I've seen that the doctors are very busy because even time for them to go and eat is very scarce. They are on track for something. So we pray with the government that they also will listen to their midwives and also pleading with the nurses And also they have to see the work in which they have also involved themselves into. They are caring for people's life. If they continue to make it hard, many souls are being lost.
They are trying their best here, and they are good. I think they are good. Where they are seeking for something, the government has to look onto it.
Now we are going to one of our headline stories for you. Now, investigative journalist Manasseh Azuri-Awene has welcomed the decision by government not to renew the contract between the Youth Employment Agency and Zoom Lion Ghana Limited. The journalist had in April 2025 petitioned the president and proposed that the contract be discontinued to enable the assemblies and the YEA supervise the sweepers. Manasseh has been speaking to TV3.
This has been 12 years of consistent and persistent advocacy and also putting out investigative reports and evidence of how bad this deal was and wasn't helping the country in the sanitation sector and also the way we use our resources. And I can be thankful enough to His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama for this bold step. It is very unconscionable that human beings with brains would sit down and say that someone would work for a month, they don't have health insurance, they don't have transportation, they don't have any form of benefit. And at the end of the month, they go home with only 250 cedis. If you went to the YEA and then asked them to give you a list of the people on the ground sweeping, they wouldn't be able to say it. Even when YEA conducted its own research and went to the ground to do a head count, they got about 38,000 people on the ground. Even that, they said people were even included without they giving them appointment letters. But Zoom Lion bills the government for 45,000, and the government has been paying, even though it could not and can still not say that this is the number on the ground. And I'm happy that after 12 years of advocacy, we have a president that is listening and is prepared to act. And we shouldn't just end here. We should all try to see that what they have announced, they will do it.
Also, the Greater Accra Regional Coordinating Council says it is stepping up efforts to tackle the region's biggest urban challenges, from poor sanitation and flooding to street lights maintenance and uncompleted projects. At the first Regional Coordinating Council meeting of the year, the regional minister outlined progress made in her first month in office and called on MMDAs to show stronger leadership as sanitation becomes a key performance indicator. Deborah Bamensa has more in the following report.
At the first Regional Coordinating Council meeting of the year, the regional minister highlighted progress made and outlined urgent areas needing collaborative action for municipal, metropolitan and district assemblies. Sanitation remains a pressing challenge for the region, with widespread issues including open defecation, illegal dumping and choked drains, undermining efforts to build a resilient urban space. The Greater Accra Regional Minister announced sanitation as key performance indicator for all MMDCs.
It is not just as an environmental concern, but as a developmental priority for all MMDCs. To encourage excellence, an award scheme will soon be introduced to recognize best for performing assemblies.
Addressing urban safety and infrastructure, the minister says despite achieving 70% of the streetlight target in the region, theft remains a threat to its sustainability.
We met our target, and because of theft, we have to go back to square one. So we are also taxing. Now that they are in office, they should also take charge. We started because they weren't there. Now that they are there, they should make sure that they take up the challenge and make sure that every street is light within their various districts.
The minister emphasized the shift from reactive emergency response to proactive long-term flood control strategies.
I have led the Regional Security Council, some local authorities, other stakeholder institutions to demolish illegal structures and some Ramsar sites, which serves as holding pools for running water. We must shift from reactive responses to proactive.
The RCC's first quarter monitoring report showed 372 development projects ongoing across the region, of which 207 have been completed. The remaining 165 projects are either ongoing or abandoned. The MMDCs have welcomed the initiatives and say they are ready to work with them and accept any sanctions if they fail to comply.
The MCs, we are more vulnerable than any other chief executive, because if you don't perform, our president already, you can be removed from office. And because all of us want to be part of the agenda, you see, it is not just the position. It's being part of change. It's being part of the development, being part of the reset agenda.
In more news tonight, the Ghana Water Company has uncovered a major illegal water connection operated by a private entity at the Adentan Municipal District, raising alarm over lapses in regulatory oversight and public utility abuse. Our reporter Safo Abuahini was at the ground during the operation and brings us this report.
An operation by the Ghana Water Company Limited (GWCL) in the Accra East region has led to the discovery of an illegal water connection operated by a private business. According to GWCL officials, the company had tapped into the main water supply unlawfully, setting up its own water storage and distribution system.
When we investigated, we realized that they have connected illegally. If you look at the compound is so huge that they divide it into two with a wall. So one place is for the storage of the water and the other place is for the operation where they do the filling. So you would not have access to see what is here if you are in there. You all know we do water rationing, but activities of this nature would worsen the situation of the rationing. And then not only that, it will also disrupt the quality of supply to those beyond this point, considering the sizes of pipes they use to bring the water to these areas.
The illegal operation was first flagged by the board chairman of the Ghana Water Company Limited, prompting an official visit, but the situation has also raised serious questions about how such activities could go unnoticed by meter readers who are supposed to inspect the site monthly.
Looking at the activities and the water bill they pay on monthly basis, there must be something fishy about it. So the meter reader or our staff around this area should have raised alarm that let's investigate whether they are doing something untoward, until the board chairman came to see and then drew our attention. So we are actually going to carry out investigation to find out why, especially the customer care assistant, did not suspect that there might be something fishy.
The team later lodged a formal complaint at the Adenta police station, seeking law enforcement support to begin a full investigation and ensure that the perpetrators are brought to justice. The Ghana Water Company says it is strengthening monitoring systems and encouraging the public to report suspicious activities.
The managing director has set out something. He's not out yet, but it's good I make it known to you that he's setting up a special account in terms of phone lines where he will be directly supervising or monitoring, and then he would be putting people of integrity to manage these things, so that when people find activities of this nature, they are able to report confidently. We also have a reward scheme for people who report on illegal connection. If you report and we are able to determine the extent of rot and the monetary value involved, then we compensate you appropriately.
As investigations continue, the Ghana Water Company Limited is urging greater vigilance and public cooperation to clamp down on illegal connections, safeguard national resources, and ensure equitable water distribution for all. Safa Abuahini, TV3 News, Accra.
In some more news this evening, the Railway Workers Union, despite earlier assurances from the government, have still not received their 8-month salary arrears. Union members say life has been very difficult as they continue to struggle without pay.
In April this year, the Railways Workers Union embarked on a sit-down strike, demanding payment of what was then 7 months' outstanding salaries. They returned to work after government intervention and a promise that the arrears will be cleared. The Ministry of Finance was notified to ensure prompt resolution of the issues. 9 months on, the salary situation remains unresolved. Vice Chairman of the Railway Workers Union, Michael Clement, says the prolonged delay is taking a serious toll on workers and their families.
The salary is already a peanut, and accumulatively 8 good months we have not received it. It's too much for us. We wish government will feel our pain and do something about it.
Meanwhile, Accra Area Manager George Texan says the unpaid salaries, coupled with persistent logistical challenges, are hampering operations of the shuttle service.
By the end of the month, it will be 9 months working without salary. You spend Christmas without salary, you spend Easter without salary, and Eid without salary. You can just imagine. From 2009 up to 2016, it's the government that has been paying us until the NEC government left power. Okay. So they were giving us the money every quarter. So the last quarter of 2016, after the election, and the handing over. So we were supposed to take 1 January. We didn't get it because of the handing over and other things. And then other government came in, nothing happened. So the president knows that when he was in office, 2013 to 2016, he has been paying railway workers.
The Accra-Tema shuttle service is currently the only functional rail line in the country that has been struggling to break even, largely due to low patronage. The union is once again calling for urgent government attention to resolve the matter. Stanley Niblew, TV3 News, Accra.
Still watching News 360 on TV3. Stay with us. We have business, sports, entertainment all coming up.
quarter of 2025.
Which is good news.
And yes, good news. And agriculture sector played a very significant role in that. Some experts have been reacting to that, and we have details of that and more coming up.
Let's take a look.
Nice. Thank you so much. Welcome to the business segment on News 360. I am Menu Afol. Ghana's agriculture sector has kicked off 2025 on a high note, registering 6.6% growth in the first quarter, a significant leap from the 2.9% recorded in the final quarter of 2024. However, the pressing question on the minds of policymakers and stakeholders alike is, can this burgeoning growth be sustained?
The gross domestic product (GDP) share of agriculture was 23.5% in the first quarter of 2025. This is driven largely by a strong rebound in cocoa output by 3.3%, a surge in the fishing subsector by 16.4%. Agriculturist Edward Karewe suggests how the surge in the growth in agriculture can be sustained.
The growth is positive, the growth is encouraging, and what we need to do is to make sure that we identify the factors that have led to this type of growth, ensure that those factors are promoted. So we deepen those factors, we promote those factors, then to be able to sustain the growth.
In the 2025 budget, government allocated 1.5 billion cedis for the sector towards its Agric for Economic Transformation program. Analyst Nelson Kujo-Kwaweji has urged government to be deliberate with implementation.
We expect the contribution of Agric towards the overall GDP growth rate to increase. I think that the position of government since the presentation of the budget has been clear. They want to use Agric as a catalyst to actually accelerate the development and growth of the economy. And so I believe going into the future, from the medium to long term, agriculture is going to play a major role, given the quantum of budgetary allocation.
Edward Karewe wants the sector to be protected.
If we are able to align our policies in a manner that they do not cause harm or serious harm to the agricultural production, but rather promote it, that will be the way forward. We all remember the discounted benchmark value, which was implemented in 2019 until 2023. And it used to give some type of gift to importers, including agricultural produce.
Experts agree that addressing systemic challenges and supporting farmers provide the opportunity for sustained agricultural growth.
In more news tonight, government has announced plans to declare Tema and Takoradi ports as 24-hour operational hubs effective July 1, 2025, following the official rollout of the National 24-Hour Economy Initiative. President John Dramani Mahama revealed this during the opening of the Ghana Horticulture Expo in Accra. The president highlighted the pivotal role of logistics and exports in Ghana's economic transformation, noting that the policy will significantly benefit the horticulture industry. The 24-hour operation of the Tema and Takoradi ports is expected to enhance speed and efficiency of moving perishable goods from farms to international markets.
We're also implementing a game-changing strategy, the 24-Hour Economy Initiative, to unlock Ghana's productive potential across all sectors. And I'm pleased to announce that on July 1st, the 24-Hour Initiative policy will be ready to go into operation. The Ministry of Trade, Agribusiness and Industry and the Ministry of Transport are working together with the Ghana Revenue Authority, the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, the Ghana Shippers Council, and other stakeholders to soon declare the Tema and Takoradi ports as 24-hour ports.
President of the Federation of Association of Ghanaian Exporters, Davis Yakubu, is optimistic a 24-hour horticulture industry will enhance Ghana's competitiveness on the global market.
A 24-hour agribusiness economy will not only increase output, it will decongest operations, create high-quality jobs, and radically enhance our competitiveness on the global stage. Imagine a Ghana where irrigation pumps hum through the night, nation crops while we sleep, agro-processing plants run second and third shifts, turning fresh produce into juices and dried fruits for export.
Away from that, Ecobank Ghana has announced a dividend of 34 pesos per share for the 2024 fiscal year, following a strong financial performance. Subject to shareholder approval, the dividend will be paid on 27th June 2025.
The bank reported a pre-tax profit of 2.4 billion cedis, representing a 139.3% increase year-on-year. Revenue rose to 5.4 billion cedis, driven largely by higher net interest income and growth in fee-based earnings. At the bank's annual general meeting held on 12 June 2025, Chairman of the Board Samuel Ashite-Ajay stated that the dividend declaration reflects the board's commitment to delivering shareholder value.
Dear shareholders, it is my greatest pleasure to inform you that we will, subject to the approval of shareholders, declare the payment of dividends for the year 2024 financial year. The board has approved a dividend of 0.34 cedis per share for all eligible shareholders. I now declare the resolution carried. And for your information, dividends will be paid on the 27th of this month for shareholders registered in the books of the company as at the 13th of this month.
Ecobank remains dedicated to achieving even greater success with a focus on sustained growth and long-term prosperity for all stakeholders.
Your expectation is that we pay more going forward, and we work together, as a bank to ensure, that we are able to pay more next year.
Over the years, Ecobank has grown consistently to become one of the most recognized financial services brands, serving corporate, commercial, and retail clients with innovative, tailored solutions.
Moving on, a powerful new initiative has been launched with a bold mission to empower the next generation of female tech leaders. Siemens and GVI Ghana have joined forces to train young girls in digital and STEM skills, bridging the gender gap and shaping a more inclusive future.
It's called EmpowerTech, a 3-year program designed to give 300 girls from underserved communities in Kukrobite, Ghana, the skills they need to thrive in the digital economy. Backed by global tech giants Siemens and the community development partner GVI Ghana, the initiative combines hands-on training in coding, AI, digital tools and career development, all with one goal: future-ready girls building a tech-powered Ghana. Siemens CEO Sabine Dal-Omo emphasized the value of partnering with GVI.
GVI, from their values and the initiatives they take, it is very much aligned with the core values of Siemens, looking after sustainability of societies and the society at large. And so we believe that when partnering with GVI, specifically in a vulnerable community like here in Kukrobite, it will make a difference to the life of the young girls, but also to society.
The manager for GVI Ghana, Matt Craig, expressed appreciation for Siemens' support.
In terms of their ethics, in terms of their branding, in terms of their expertise, we couldn't ask for a better, more valuable partner.
The German ambassador to Ghana, Daniel Kroll, called the initiative a key part of the social responsibility efforts.
German industry is a strong and long-time partner of Ghana, and this is a fantastic example of the spirit of corporate social responsibility.
Some students spoke about their experience.
It has helped me improve my typing and learning skills. It has helped me improve more knowledge about computing and creativity. This program has helped me know my talents and what to do in future. I've experienced more things about this program. It has also given me the opportunity to know more about the computer and know more about ICT.
A big step for digital inclusion and for Ghana's girls ready to take on the world.
Let's now look at how the cedi is faring against other major trading currencies and how some of our key commodities are faring on the global market. And that's how we wrap up the business segments on News 360 tonight. My name is Menu Afol. Stay with us. We'll be back with sports.
Hello, good evening and welcome to the sports segment here on News 360 with me, Oreku Ampofo. The Ghana League Clubs Association, also known as GALCA, has officially launched the 2025 edition of the prestigious President's Cup at the Accra Sports Stadium in Accra on Thursday on June 12. The annual event, which honors the sitting president of Ghana, is a highlight on the Ghanaian football calendar, combining ceremonial grandeur with fierce competition.
Headlining this year's clash is a historic rivalry between the country's two most successful clubs, Asante Kotoko and Hearts of Oak. During Thursday's lunch, GALCA, the welfare body of Ghanaian football clubs, revealed key events surrounding this year's event, including matchday logistics, sponsorship packages, and fan engagement initiatives.
GALCA has a collaboration with Suka Africa at Sports 20 in the area of sustainability and recently jointly attended an international forum in South Africa. We believe that our partnership is to introduce green football to contribute our quota to the government green economy as sports people.
The 10th edition of the President's Cup is being held in honor of President John Dramani Mahama, who returned to the presidency following the 2024 general elections. The event serves as both a tribute and a platform to reunite the nation through sport. The last time the two Ghana Premier League giants met in the competition, the Phobians walked away with the bragging rights, and skipper Benjamin Asare believes they can repeat the success this year.
On the field of play, money ball model, money war. She into me my life, nothing and not get with me encourage in football into her. Meet go cap ni lose down. Unless I just play day, she cap ni meet on finance. Ni man be na oh, this goalkeeper is a good goalkeeper. Ni show finance you wanna can cap. See that like I am a woman because football anything can happen in football. But just me, I want to assure them that on the field of play, the back which self will judge.
Meanwhile, communications director for the Porcupine Warriors, Safuduku, believes their recent dominance against their Accra rivals makes them the ultimate favourites to lift the trophy.
I wonder how this competition would have received the necessary attention without Kotoko. Because it's a fact that you can't play such a match without bringing in Kotoko. Because the enthusiasm, the euphoria, everything will be lost completely.
Well, let's do some more here, where Ghana midfielder Thomas Partey is confident that the Black Stars will qualify for the 2026 World Cup ahead of the penultimate games in September. The Black Stars recorded 2 massive victories in March against Chad and Madagascar to send them top of Group I with 15 points, 3 clear of second place Comoros.
Yeah, I think as the coach said, we still have to win the rest of our games. And we as a player or as a technical team, the mentality we have is we want to be at the World Cup because this is where all the big players want to be. So the focus is to win the rest of our games and then we'll be there. We were there last time, so we still want to be there. We had a feel of it. We know how nice it is and we still want to be there. So if we are able to get there, I hope we get some good hotels.
And so you can catch the full interview later on TV3 tonight at 9 p.m. But before we go, Tottenham Hotspur have appointed Brentford boss Thomas Frank as their head coach on a deal which runs through to 2028. The 51-year-old Dane replaces Ange Postecoglou, who won the Europa League, but despite that achievement was sacked due to Tottenham finishing 17th in the Premier League last season. You can get more updates on our social media handles at 3SportsGH. My name is Oreku Ampofo.
Entertainment News segment is brought to you by GTP Lifestyle and Napa Foods. Heaven Black Insecticide Spray and Coil. Powered by 3 Entertainment.
In Entertainment News tonight, we bring you some interesting highlights from the world of arts and entertainment.
Stormzy has launched his own film production company, Meki Films, focused on celebrating Black British stories and talent. His first release is a short film titled Big Man, directed by Oscar-winning Anil Carrier and set to premiere on YouTube on 18 June. Stormzy says film is his second love after music, and he hopes Meki Film becomes a platform for both and authentic storytelling. The company joins his other initiatives, Meki Books and Meki FC, aimed at uplifting underrepresented voices. Additionally, projects including a drama series, animation and biopic are already in development. Ghanaian actress and filmmaker Juliet Ibrahim has urged authorities to take action against local TV stations allegedly airing films without permission. Her statement follows the National Communications Authority's recent suspension of BZ radio stations for regulatory violations. Responding to the news, Juliet posted, "TV stations should please be next," highlighting the frustration over rampant film piracy. Juliet described the issue as a widespread African problem and called on agencies such as the NCA, Ghana Copyright Office, and National Film Authority to step in and enforce intellectual property rights. Her remarks have amplified the ongoing discussion around the media piracy and the need for stronger protections for filmmakers across the continent.
Time now for international news.
204 bodies have been recovered after a London-bound Air India plane carrying 242 people crashed shortly after takeoff in Ahmedabad, Western India. A local police chief says one passenger has survived. There were 169 Indian nationals, 53 Britons, 7 Portuguese nationals, and 1 Canadian on the flight, Air India says. The plane crashed into accommodation used by doctors. U.S. President Donald Trump expressed concern about the fatal plane crash in India on Thursday and said he has pledged U.S. support if needed in its aftermath. China has said it is ready to drop the tariffs it charges on imports from all 53 African countries with which it has diplomatic relations.
That's how we bring the bulletin to an end. Thank you so much for watching. I am Martin Asiedu-Dartey.
And I'm Ayisha Yakubu. Good evening.